There's a great book on the seven deadly sins called Glittering Vices, and author Rebecca DeYoung writes this to explain more about coveting. There's a difference between wanting a BMW because we are car aficionados and love the driving performance of a particular model, and wanting a BMW because a difference between that and wanting a BMW because it will make us feel superior to our neighbor who just bought a new Camry. We envy not the car, but the superiority, the classiness of the person driving it. Not to have the car is not just to lack that thing, but it's to be less of a person, to be deficient or defective. And see, that's the problem. Once I link my happiness to the acquisition of an object or the approval of a person, having a talent or a degree or an accomplishment, once I go there, envy has me in its grip. And then with envy, the obsession transfers to the object, to my neighbor. Envy is the hurt and the hate we feel against another person who has what we desire. The writer Gore Vidal once said, "Every time I see a friend succeed, a little something in me dies." I love his honesty. I think there's something of that in each one of us. Envy is an equal opportunity destroyer. My own envy resume is substantial. The thing about looking at the seven deadly sins, it forces you to look in the mirror. And so do that. Take time after we've studied this and just think, is this in me and to what degree? But I was thinking about envy in my own life. As an aspiring writer who sought publication and has been brought this close to it with my Ben-Hur sequel. Y'all got to watch Ben-Hur this Lent. And then I can introduce you to the rest of the story. I came this, honestly, most of you know the story. I came this close. I was writing to Charlton Heston. He knew of the project. The studio that made Spartacus was looking at my screenplay 20 years ago. And then Charlton Heston got sick, and Gladiator came out and sucked the oxygen out for those and the window closed as quickly as it opened. Boy, I have envied those who've made it to the other side, and I secretly despise their work. People came up to me when I was in Connecticut when the Left Behind series came out, and they said, "Pastor, have you seen the Left Behind series? And have you read them?" Oh, I'd say I paged through a couple of the chapters of the book. The writing's good. It's not Dickens, and you got to be careful of the theology a little bit. Yeah, it's all right. And inside I'm going, and they've sold millions of copies, and they've made household names for themselves, and they've set themselves up for life so that they can write their little hearts out the rest of their days. And I don't understand because my writing runs circles around Jerry Jenkins. And all that is going through my body as I'm smiling at them. There's another thing about envy, and we all recognize it. Intuitively, we know it's wrong. Yes? And so we cloak it up. We disguise it. We doctor it up. Like Herod. Seek out the child for me, and when you find him, come back, that I too may worship him. It's like Putin. We need to denazify our Ukrainian brothers. This is for their good. Yes? True confessions. As I thought about it this week, I have envied pastors with more vibrant and significant ministries than my own. I have envied people the houses they've owned. I've envied people who could take vacations I wasn't able to take. This is a big one. I've envied those who have larger families. Janice and I both came from larger families, and we wanted a larger family. And even though we made our peace with where we're at and all of that, we just know, the final seasons of our life will be different because we don't have kids and grandkids, and we hurt for Hannah, who's always missed on having a broader family. See, but the point is, there's no limit to what we can envy when we open our hearts up to that. When we feel dissatisfaction with our own life about something other, and then we start comparing what other people have. Yes? That's the petri dish in which envy thrives. And what's sick about it is it runs in both directions. Come to find out over the years, I've been the object of envy. I've been envied for the house I owned and the vacations I took. I've been envied for my writing and music and for my marriage and all that. And it's just so ugly. All of this. It's a prison cell of the heart, if ever there was one.